They thought that if they did not confess, they would be subjected to harsher treatment. So they decided to tell the rulers about their crime to some extent and apologize for that. Thus their children could be spared of the vengeance of the rulers. After some time, when the dust would have settled, they would resume their activities, they thought. With this plan in mind, they prostrated before the rulers for forgiveness and pronounced an oath that they would never repeat it in future. Thereupon the rulers, accepting the commitment made by the Mahajans, pardoned them and set them free. But after some time, they were back with their old game. They resumed their sinful activity with a vengeance. So I want to warn you never to trust these dishonest people. When they were punished, they discontinued their activity, lying low for some time. But after a generation or two, they resumed their sinful practice, as a result of which Mother Earth is suffering a lot. The ancient scriptures as well, people who have suffered, tell us that these unscrupulous people are constantly practicing the diabolic ritual to curse Mother Earth. As a result, she is not getting the essential nourishment and her fertility has suffered immensely. The diabolic ritual has resulted in the sapping up of the strength-giving elements of earth, which include mines of precious metals and minerals such as gold, silver, precious stones, etc. Ravana practiced diabolism during his lifetime, and it was confined to one generation. Others continued it till 2 generations. But as soon as people came to know about their secret activity, they punished the sinners and dismantled their network of diabolism. Since the suffering of Mother Earth was comparatively short-lived, she did not lose her strength completely. During the time of Ravana, there were a good number of gold and silver mines. People had not lost their brain power completely, and so they could get hints of Ravana's sinful activity. When the people of the world found that the diabolism had affected their sense of judgment, they decided to dismantle it with their joint efforts and were successful. After the death of Raja Bal, these Mahajans have started practicing diabolism. They know that diabolism can severely damage the brain power of the human beings, so they have left Ravana, Hiranyakashipu and others far behind in their diabolic game. They have corrupted the minds of the people. They have made Mother Earth sick and weak. The mines of minerals and metals which provided strength to earth are fast disappearing. The demon kings, Ravana, Hiranyakashipu and others had at least some fear of consequences, and so they exercised their diabolic power with a bit restraint. But the diabolism of the present-day demons knows no bound. People have lost all their wisdom. They have become insensitive to the needs of Mother Earth. No amount of persuasion seems to make them understand that they must do something to get rid of the diabolic forces that will restore the health of Mother Earth. All the precious mines of gold and silver, which have almost disappeared, will return to earth. Just as anybody who is cured of his illness starts taking necessary diet and nourishing food, soon regains his health, in the same way, Mother Earth will gradually regain her health once the Mahajans stop performing the diabolic rite directed against her. Earth's fertility will increase, agricultural production will multiply, with much labor, with much less labor. People will lead prosperous life. Bonhomie and mutual concern will mark the relationship between the rulers and the ruled. People across the world will have love and fellow feeling for each other. Nobody will die prematurely. Everybody will enjoy good health all through his life. It is therefore imperative that every Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and followers of any other religion, and also every king and common citizens, should think over it and try to restore the world which was free from curse of diabolism. It was known as the Satyuga, as the Golden Age. In that age, both a lion and a goat roamed around together. Is it that the supreme power that ruled the whole creation was different then, and today a different power is controlling the universe? It is not so. God, the Almighty, is the same in every age. He is kind to all. It is not that He has been unkind to the poor by destroying their wisdom. Moreover, God is one, but the unscrupulous people are creating confusion because it helps them in keeping their demoniac activity as a closely guarded secret. God does not indulge in such activities, nor does He discriminate between the strong and the weak, or between the rich and the poor. Under His dispensation, a lion and a goat drink water from the same pond. It is the demons like Ravana who create confusion among people by destroying their good sense with the help of their diabolic power. Ravana named this power as Indrajal. People thought that the Indrajal was the cause of their problems. When Shanishchara was made the target, he gave a serious thought to it and found it intriguing that while it was the diabolism of Ravana which was the cause of his woes, the blame was being shifted to a strange phenomenon named the Indrajal. Similarly, King Hiranyakashipu let people know his sinful practice by the name of Rakshasa Vidya, the demoniac science. The purpose was to keep the people in the dark about their role in it. So Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Karun and others were indulging in esoteric practices of occultism to harm the world and its inhabitants, but did not want people to know their direct role in it for fear of their retribution. The popular name of Ravana's demoniac rite was Indrajal. This name was changed by Hiranyakashipu when he practiced diabolism to harm the world. He gave it a different name, that is, Rakshasa Vidya. His fear was that if he continued with the name given by Ravana, he might be exposed and people would kill him and his descendants. Though name was changed, the sin was essentially the same as was being committed by Ravana. He thought that people would be confused by the new name. Similarly, King Kamsa continued with that sin under a different name. Karun gave to his sinful act yet another name. He let people know it by the name of Kafir Vidya, the science of the infidel. He too wanted people to be at their wits' end about the calamities that were befalling the world. At that time, the teachings of Guru Nanak made people wise. At that time, the teachings of Guru Nanak made people wise who could see through the secret designs of Karun. He had to pay for his sins. In this way, as the people of the world came to know about the sinister role of the sinners, they got united and punished the evildoers. The world got rid of their sins. After the death of Raja Bal, the Saudagar Mahajans have appeared on the scene. They have started torturing and killing human beings and other living beings. They have set up a haven for executing their demoniac signs. At that place, which people at large believe equipped with the mysterious 84 lakh kundis, they are torturing 84 lakh creatures to death. They are continuing with the same sinful ritual as the demons of the earlier eras were performing, but under a different name. They have given it a new name, that is Kalukal or Kali Yuga or the Dark Age. They are intensifying their diabolic practice more and more with every passing day. Consequently, people are confused. They have lost their sense of judgment. People in their present state of mind are blaming the Kali Yuga for all their problems and deteriorating conditions on earth. They hardly realize that Kali Yuga is not a thing, a source of trouble, but like Ravana, the Banyas have blinded the people of the world so that they may not see their hand in it. Unable to think properly and judiciously, people belonging to all sections of society, the Pandits, the Sadhus, the Fakirs, the kings and common subjects, do not pay attention to the misdeeds of the Banyas. They do not understand that what they know as the Kalukal is in fact a sort of wave of sin which has been spread by the Banyas to grab the money and riches of all the continents. Millions of them, women and children, are dying prematurely, but people do not bother to think why this is happening. In good old days, people died after completing full span of life. Now, people are dying at a very young age, and nobody seems to think that it could be due to some diabolic ritual being performed by somebody. If they think in that line, they can try to access its source and wipe out the sin. The Kalukal is a manifestation of the sins of the Banyas and not a will of God. God cannot be so cruel as to take away the life of people before they complete the years granted to them. There are scores of references in the scriptures which tell us that Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa and their ilk had controlled the forces of rain and death. In the same way, the Banyas too have dominated the forces of rain and death by practicing the demoniac signs. Now, what does controlling death mean? It means one who has death under his command can cause death to anybody at a tender age. Therefore, you, the people of the world, should understand this fact, where that the premature death of a large number of persons clearly indicates that somebody is practicing diabolism. In the eras gone by, when the demon kings like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu practiced diabolism, the saintly people who had suffered made a determined bid and rooted out the evil practice. That saved the world, otherwise the world and its people were doomed. Such is the effect of the diabolic rites. There is no use blaming the Kali Yuga for all your misfortunes. It is the diabolism being practiced by these Saudagars which is the root cause of the problems of the world. So all of you, the kings, the Pandits, the Fakirs, the Sadhus, the saints, the poor, and just listen to the prayers and the bhajans, hymns which people are singing. A lot of falsehood is being spread through them. Some saints of ancient times are great devotees of God, and so their names have been immortalized. Some of the bhajans have wrongly been attributed to these saints. They died long age and can not come back. They died long ago and cannot come back to contradict it. When Ravana was practicing diabolism, he made people sing bhajans which contained myths spread by Ravana. Now the bhajans that people are singing contain the myths created by the Baniyas. Everybody knows that those who have left for heavenly abode will never return to this world. But the bhajans being sung by the people tell us that Prahlad, King Harishchandra, the Pandavas, and even Raja Bal will come back to life. Similarly, things have been said about resurrection of the devout saint Ramdevji, greatly revered among the Rajputs. The motive behind spreading such myths through bhajans and prayers is clearly to confuse and mislead the public. In a confused state of mind, people readily believe in such falsehood. They are being told that the saints and devotees of ancient times will come back to life and wage a war against the evildoers to restore order in the world. In a graphic description, they say that Saint Ramdev Peer will ride a blue horse and the sun and the moon will hold the reins. So the king, the rulers, and all the people of the world, listen to me carefully and see for yourself the evil intentions of the Baniyas. You know, the sun and the moon are the source of light for Mother Earth. They provide great succor to the world. Man depends on their benevolence. We reap what we sow. If we do good, we will be rewarded for that. If we do wrong, we will be punished. Those who do evil do not live long. Those who do good and help others have longer life. A person doing evil earns a bad name. As against this, a person who does good is respected by all and people remember him for a long time. That's why the saints and sages of ancient times are remembered with reverence till date. The Baniyas are spreading all sorts of myths and falsehood. They say that those who had died long ago will come back to life. How can a dead person come back to life? How can the sun and the moon be deputed to hold the reins of the horse of Ramapir? This is pure fiction. All of you, the Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians, and others, should seriously think over the creation of God and see how they have spread falsehood to bedevil the minds of the people. If you want to know the truth, call the bhajan singers and ask them to sing a bhajan. You will then come to know the extent to which the falsehood is being spread. In fact, the bhajan singers are not to blame for that. These bhajans have been given to them by the Saudagars. They are told that the bhajans are written by the saints of ancient times, whereas the fact is that they are their own compositions. They do not want people to know it. Thus, many stories and bhajans spreading falsehood have been circulated by them. All the kings, rulers, and common citizens of the world are hearing these tales and songs of falsehood. I sincerely hope that all the people of the world will make a common cause to fight this scourge. If they succeed in dismantling the wave of diabolism, peace and prosperity will return to the world. Let me tell you, these Baniyas with their diabolic power can even bring down the sun and the moon, though it seems to be an impossible task. They have acquired immense power by practicing diabolism, so we should not be surprised if someday they really bring down the sun and the moon, because all they have to do is to think of this possibility. But the stories, etc., which have been circulated by them are nothing but false. Innumerable stories spreading falsehood of various kinds are doing the rounds, which show the vastness and intensity of the devilish activities of these people. They have used both the written and oral traditions of storytelling. The unwary and gullible public readily believe in the ominous messages spread through these mythological tales and bhajans. If tomorrow they really bring down the sun and the moon, people will accept it as miraculous phenomenon which they have been hearing of in stories, etc. No sadhu, fakir, pandit, yogi, or any other person will ever know that it is due to the diabolism practiced by the Banyas. Their wisdom has already been destroyed by these unscrupulous people, and so they will not know the secret of the 84 lakundis and the ritual performed on them to curse Mother Earth. This disturbance in the position of Earth vis-a-vis other planets and stars exerts a kind of pressure on Mother Earth, and she feels suffocation. In order to keep a view of sorcery over in order to keep a view of secrecy over their sins against Mother Earth, they have concocted innumerable stories. Books containing these stories have been circulated. People read these stories and never question their authenticity. One such story refers to an incident in which Hanuman took the sun in his mouth. Now you can think how anybody can take the sun in his mouth. How could the huge sun have entered the mouth of a human being? How is it possible? At least my rational mind does not permit me to believe in such fabrication. These books and their contents are a figment of their imagination. The motive behind circulating these books is to mislead others. Presenting these books as sacred texts, it has been written in these books meant for the Hindus that it is their religious duty to read these books, and they will be committing a sin equal to the sin of slaughtering a cow if they do not read these books and have faith in their contents. Similarly, books meant for the Muslims bear a stern warning for the followers of Islam that they will be declared as kafirs, infidels, if they do not treat their contents as sacrosanct. Thousands of such books have been published and circulated by these Saudagars. Dear brethren, these Saudagars themselves are infidels and irreligious persons. They have attributed these books to the Hindus and the Muslim saints. They have attributed these books to the Hindu and Muslim saints. They are telling people to read and follow the principles given in them since they were written by their ancestors. You should avoid falling in the trap laid by them. Go and arrest them and give the severest punishment to that, so that go and arrest them and give the severest punishment so that they are forced to disclose the place of their sinful ritual and stop practicing it. They want to grab the riches of the world for themselves and their descendants, and for that they want to wipe out the entire generation of the Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians and others. To achieve this objective, they have taken recourse to publishing and circulating books containing their demoniac intent, presenting them as sacred texts to the followers of different faiths. Ravana had resorted to this modus operandi of circulating books, etc., to mislead the people of the world. The books had been presented as the works of the pious souls of ancient times. The purpose is to confuse the kings and others in authority who may try to find out the source of these books. In such a situation, the Hindus and the Muslims themselves will say that those books are the writings of their own ancestors. In this way, the identity of the Banyas, the real authors of these publications, will not be known to the authorities, and thus the innocent Hindus and Muslims will be the target of their ire. When the authorities will conduct raid and books containing the demoniac materials will be seized from the homes of the Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians and others, they will instantly be identified by the rulers of other countries who will then harass and harm these innocent people. They will be charged with spreading falsehood through these books. The Baniyas have very cleverly planted these books in the homes of the Hindus and the Muslims. The authorship of these books has been ascribed to their ancestors. The idea is that when those wielding power will ever scrutinize these books and find bizarre and mystical detail of the ritual of the 84 lakh kundis and of stories like the ones in which a human being had placed earth within his jaws, or someone had grabbed the sun and put it in his mouth, they will come to the conclusion that the Hindus and the Muslims are creating all the trouble. Books produced by the Baniyas can be found in the Christian homes also. These books describe the miracles associated with Jesus Christ, who is said to have come from the sky. It is also claimed that these books have come from the sky. You are all very wise people. You have got a great insight of understanding things, and yet I am sorry to say you are not taking seriously the things that I am telling you and acting upon them to unravel the mystery of the sinful activities of the Baniyas. This is all due to the effect of diabolism let loose by them. They have exerted their diabolic influence so that you are not able to think and understand their secret designs. Just think over it. How can the people who are dead and gone come back to life? But they want us to believe in their concocted stories of some or other avatar or incarnation. Their purpose is to mislead and confuse the people of the world so that they remain quiet and wait helplessly till such time as the Kali Yuga, the current dark age, ends and the Sati Yuga, the golden age, returns. The incarnation will be known as Nakalang Avatar. The return of the Sati Yuga, according to them, will be marked by the resurrection of the people who had died long ago. Confused by the myths and falsehood, people will not be able to find out their misdeeds. So, give a serious thought to what I am telling you and do something to break the network of diabolism. Waiting for an avatar or the return of the Sati Yuga? Forget about it. Moreover, it is always Sati Yuga. It is the scene of the Baniyas, which is known by the name of Kali Yuga, just as Ravana's scene was called Indrajal. The dead do not descend from the sky, nor do they ascend to the sky. These are frivolous concoctions of the Mahajans who exercise their diabolism to make people believe in such things. That's why all of you take these stories to be true and authentic. If you, the rulers and common citizens of the world, make a common cause to find out the facts from these Baniyas by interrogating and coercing them, they will, out of fear, disclose the place of their secret ritual. You will have to deal with them firmly, otherwise they will never tell you their secret. They are irreligious and immoral people, the whole lot of them. Earlier, when they had indulged in this sinful activity, the rulers of those times punished them and then they discontinued the practice. I have said about it earlier. These Baniyas are the real culprits, but they have tarnished the fair names of other people by planting the demoniac literature in their homes. These books are the products of the Baniyas. they want the innocent people to be held responsible for their own misdeeds and punished along with their children and grandchildren. When long ago Ravana practiced diabolism, he produced books of devilish content in the name of some great devotees and religious-minded kings, so that he was not identified as the author of those books, and people would accept those books to be the creation of great sages and kings. No harm would thus come to him or his descendants. Similarly, the Banyas are indulging in this sinful activity. They too have produced books, and in them names of some saints and sages of ancient times have been given as their authors, so that whenever the falsehood is detected, they and their descendants will be spared. By practicing diabolism, they will bring disaster to the rulers and others living in any part of the world, and nobody will ever find out the cause. When Ravana practiced diabolism in the bygone era, he aimed at harming all the three worlds, but he was exposed and duly punished. After the death of Raja Bal, the Banyas are the new practitioners of this sinful ritual. Like Ravana, they too are performing this ritual secretly, so something must be done to dismantle their sin. Otherwise, they will ruin the whole world. They have set up a swarga of their secret sin. They keep it under their exclusive control. The way Ravana involved all his relatives in his sinful ritual, the Banyas in the same way have involved the selected members of their families, whom they have sent to an undisclosed island to perform the ritual. They are staying in that island permanently. Their children who are born there learn the ritual of diabolism, just as our children learn from us cultivation and other vocations. Thus, this practice is passed on from one generation to another. These Saudagars, along with other members of their tribe, have left for their undisclosed destination across the seas. They want that their offspring watch them performing the ritual of diabolism, so that slowly and gradually they pick up the art from them and practice it independently. It takes years to learn it because it is a very complicated process consisting of a number of forms and kinds. That's why the Banyas are staying there with other members of their tribe, emulating Ravana. The Banyas have enlisted all their brothers, sons and other near ones for this task and dispatched them to the undisclosed island. Ravana caused his downfall when he tormented Shanishchara, who in that process came to know about the sinful ritual of Ravana. He informed the kings and rulers of the world, resolved to punish Ravana for his sins. Vibhishana thought that the wrath of the people of the world might befall him and his children along with his brother Ravana, and so he dissociated himself from his brother's sins and revealed the secret destination of his brother Ravana's sinful ritual to the whole world. With folded hands, he made a solemn promise to the people that he would never allow diabolism to be practiced in his family then on. That is the reason why Vibhishana and his descendants were left unharmed. When the sinful activities of the Banyas came to light, the rulers and the common people punished them, and thus they were forced to discontinue the practice of diabolism. They promised solemnly on oath that they would never repeat it. Trusting their word, the rulers pardoned them. But it is a fact that they were punished for committing sins against humanity. Their temples were demolished and the icons were disfigured, but they hide these facts. Though they had promised not to repeat their misdeeds, they did not keep their word. Soon they started spreading falsehood with the purpose to confusing the people of the world. If the rulers had even a slight doubt about their honesty, they would never have spared them. They did not know that these unscrupulous people would again resort to the diabolic ritual to harm them and their descendants in order to grab the riches of the world. They could hardly imagine that these Banias would collude with foreign powers to dethrone them and take their entire wealth in their own possession. But they did exactly that. They started practicing diabolism to destroy the thinking faculty of all the people, including the rulers. Then they brought death to the descendants of the rulers. In fact, this secret activity, which started during Ravana's time, has been detected several times, and those indulging in it have been punished. For the first time, it was detected when Ravana was practicing it. After him, Hiranyakashipu, Karun, and now the Banias were found practicing this sinful act. Once during the time of the king of India, this obnoxious practice of diabolism was detected. In fact, the Banias have been practicing this black art generation after generation from time immemorial. It is they who passed on the knowledge of the demoniac science, albeit partly to the demon kings like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and others. While doing so, they kept the essence or the core of their knowledge unto themselves. They told the demon kings that if they were successful in practicing diabolism, their empire would expand to every nook and corner of the world. Thus, the demon kings picked up their demoniac practice from them. They were, however, caught and punished by the people of the world, impelled by the greed for power and pelf. Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Karun, and many other kings and potentates fell into the trap laid by the Mahajans and started practicing diabolism. They had to pay for their sins in the form of death and destruction to themselves and their descendants. Though practitioners of diabolism have been captured and punished from time to time, no permanent remedy has been found and applied to root out this evil. It is said that these unscrupulous Banias are the originators of this sin, which was first detected in Lanka. That's why they are known as the hardcore culprits of Lanka. Earlier attempts were made to put a stop to this sinful activity, and the sinners were duly punished, but still it could not be rooted out completely. The reason is that the entire gamut of this devilish knowledge is in exclusive possession of the Banias, who had taught a little bit of this sin to Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and other demon kings and exhorted them to practice it. Since they practiced it only partly, they were caught and punished severely for that. People did not know the real villains or the Mahajans. Had the people of the world known this fact, they would have forced them to give up their sin forever by subjecting them to the severest punishment. But till this day, nobody knows that this devilish knowledge was originated and developed by the Banias and the Mahajans. They have grabbed the wealth and money of all the kings and rulers, rendering them poor and destitute by means of their diabolic power. They have created dissension among different sections of people and provoked them to kill each other. I wish to make an earnest appeal to the people and rulers of all the countries and continents to listen to my humble submission in the interest of the entire humanity. Let me tell you that when we who were born in India could not get wind of the secret activity of these Banias, how could you, living far away, have known about it. These unscrupulous people are luring the rulers of different countries to enslave this country, a land of rich resources. Their game plan is to drive a wedge between one country and another so that they wage a mutually destructive war against each other. As you are unaware of their sinister role, they will send one of them to approach you in the garb of a mendicant or some other persona who will teach you a bit of their sinful act and motivate you to practice it. You will be told that by practicing it, you will be the monarch of all you survey. They had adopted the same tactics with Ravana, who was also made ambitious to rule the whole world. After they had entrapped Ravana in their game plan, the Mahajans told the whole world that Ravana was a sinner and he was killed. The same fate is awaiting you. They will stealthily inject a covetous desire of ruling the world in you and motivate you to commit the sin in order to achieve it. Then they will set rulers of other nations against you to ruin you and your descendants. They themselves will remain untouched. Nobody will ever know their role in this game of destruction. When the kings and rulers of different countries engaged in mutually destructive rivalry will have finished each other, there will be very few people left in the world to challenge the supremacy of this tribe of traders and moneylenders. This is their long-term plan. In order to deceive the world, they present themselves as very religious-minded and austere. They will continue to behave meekly till they are in minority. You should not be misled by their false appearance. You have to take some action to dismantle their sin if you really want the welfare of the entire humanity. The allurement, the greed is not going to lead you anywhere. It will inevitably bring disaster to you and your descendants. These Mahajans have succeeded in creating dissension among various sections and communities in India. They have already done a lot of damage to the Indian people, and whatever is left will be doomed once they succeed in persuading you, the foreign powers, to come to India and rule this nation. The Hindus, the Muslims, and other communities living in India will be ruined. Mind you, these people who are unrolling red carpet for you will ultimately give you the same setback as they have given to us, the Indians. If the rulers of this country had got any hint of their evil intentions, they would have wiped out their entire tribe. If they had any means to know the plans of these Baniyas to help the foreign powers establish their rule in this country, dispossessing Indian rulers and subjects of their wealth, they would have driven them out from this country and even put them to death. But this was not to be, and so no harm was done to these unscrupulous people. Emboldened by the success of their plan, they resumed their sinful practice with vengeance. It is the effect of their sin that today millions of people are dying of epidemic diseases like cholera year after year. People no more enjoy health and longevity of life as they did in bygone era. In those days, no woman was barren. All of them gave birth to healthy children who enjoyed full span of life. Now, many people remain childless, and a good number of people are dying prematurely owing to the sinful rites being performed by the Baniyas. So a lot of power has come into the hands of these people. They are capable of doing anything they wish to. You must make efforts to do away with their sinful practices so that the condition of the Sati Yuga may prevail, in which no one will remain childless. God has granted everybody children and food. He does not want anybody to suffer in any way. It is the sins of the Saudagars which are causing all kinds of problems to mankind. If all the people of the world, the Hindus, the Muslims and others, make a common cause to dismantle the wave of diabolism, peace and prosperity will return to the world, and everybody will heave a sigh of relief. Otherwise, the Baniyas are looking forward to the day when there will be very few people left in the world, which will make it much easier for them to establish their monopoly over the entire universe. Ravana had become the unchallenged ruler of the entire universe by means of his demoniac power. The Baniyas are nurturing a similar ambition, for which they have launched a well-considered plan of action. According to their plan, a time will come when the rulers not only of India but those of all the countries and continents of the world will disappear from the scene as an aftermath of their diabolic rite. Very few people will then be left in the world who will not be able to challenge their authority. They will be dominating the whole world, whose entire riches will be in their possession. Ravana practiced diabolism for the same purpose. King Hiranyakashipu, King Kamsa, Karun and others followed suit. When Shanishara exposed the misdeeds of Ravana, his sinful activity was put to an end. Similarly, the sins of others, when came to light, were put to an end by the people of the world. All of them wanted to rule the world and possess its wealth. They wanted to ruin all others. They had to pay for their insatiable greed in terms of death and total ruination of their descendants. Ultimately, what reigns supreme are the virtues of righteousness. Compassion, and goodness. Do not dismiss it as an old wives' tale, because I am deeply concerned about the well-being of the coming generations. That's why I have pinned down in great detail the evil designs of the Baniyas, who are nurturing a secret ambition of ruling the entire universe. They have tormented me by practicing diabolism against me, so whatever I am writing is based on my own experience and all that I have seen with my own eyes. They are planning to ruin the whole world. They will succeed in their mission if nothing is done to stop their march. Therefore, you, the people of the world, including the kings and the rulers of different lands, should make a common cause to dismantle their sin. That alone will ensure safety and security of your children and grandchildren. As a rule, the virtues of righteousness and goodness should dominate, but they are out to upturn it. So if they are allowed to practice the sinful ritual unchallenged, they will bring disaster to the world. As a part of their plan, they have already produced and circulated books containing ominous predictions. These books are found in the homes of the Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians and others. Names of some of our ancestors have been given in those books as their authors. They think that if the people of the world will read those books, they will have reverence for them, because they will take them as the works of their own ancestors. So, I want to tell you that the books which have been placed in your homes and which you think are sacred scriptures are in fact the manipulated works of these unscrupulous people. If I am writing over and over again about these books, I want you not to be misled by reading these books. They are not true religious texts. So listen to me carefully and take action to dismantle their sinful ritual in the interest of safety and well-being of your offspring. There is a reference in these books which says that a time will come when only one village within the radius of 100 costs, about 200 miles, will be found inhabited. Other villages between will be ruined and deserted. Some books warn people that kings may make a search of these books, and whosoever is found in possession of those books would be punished. So all their future plans have already been given in these books. When the course of events given in the books takes shape, people think that the incidents were predestined. The predictions made in these books about the advent of the Kali Yuga say that a bad time will come, and when people find everything around them unpleasant, they believe that the predictions made in the books have come true. Thus, these Banyas, like Ravana, have brought disaster to the world by their demoniac power. If people had an access to their secrets, they would have finished them along with their offspring. They are spreading horrendous prognostications through their books, which they want people to accept as religious texts. They have drawn a fearful picture of a future time when an isolated village will be found within a radius of about 200 miles. At present, we can find villages at a distance of about less than 2 miles. I want to tell you that the network of diabolic activity is very wide, and under its influence, you are not able to see their hand in it. These books have predicted about a time when food grains will sell in terms of number and not in weight. Water will be scarce commodity. Water will be a scarce commodity which will be sold in terms of weight. The bhajans too are full of such ominous details. These books, etc., are the product of these Banyas, which have been presented as the works of the Hindu, Muslim, and Christian saints and sages. They have laid out their game plan in such a way that people will easily be taken in, and anybody trying to explain to them the reality hidden behind the facade will be dismissed as an idiot. People will not pay heed to him, nor will they give any credence to his sane advice, because their wisdom and their rational thinking have been severely damaged by the Banyas, by their diabolic power. Their sinister activity will always remain a mystery in the eyes of the gullible people, and they will continue to operate unhindered. The diabolic rites performed against the world has badly corrupted the intellect of the people. Once, when their devilry was exposed, the then rulers had destroyed those books of demoniac knowledge. Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa and Karun had also produced and circulated books of this kind, but they were comparatively fewer in number. These Banyas are operating from India, and so only the Banyas of India are in the know of things. They are giving financial support to those who, on their behalf, are engaged in performing the diabolic rites in a secret island. The predictions that they make come true. These predictions, which are made through almanacs, etc., say that on such and such date, at such and such time, and in such and such month, an epidemic of, say, cholera will break out, or famine and drought will occur. Thereafter, the Banyas perform mystic rites on the 84 lakh kundis on those days, and thus the predictions turn into reality. People are impressed by very precise and correct predictions. So when calamities take place, as predicted in almanacs, etc., people attribute them to God's will, saying that these incidents were destined to happen. They cannot see the role of the Banyas behind these incidents. They do not know that the havoc has been caused by these unscrupulous people who, like Ravana, indulge in diabolism for this purpose. If people do not understand their game and do something for it, they will live to do it. Earlier, when people tried to find out the secret of their diabolic activity, they were able to understand its intricacies with the help of Shanishchara, and they succeeded in dismantling Ravana's sinful activity. Then the whole world was told about it. They were thinking that if they had known about it earlier, the damage would have been less. They would have lived a comfortable life. God has not given unhappiness to mankind. He has in fact granted mankind nothing but happiness. It is the diabolism of Ravana and others of his ilk which has caused untold suffering to them. But they fail to understand the root cause of their problems because they were deprived of their thinking faculty. Whether it was the doing of Ravana or Hiranyakashipu or others who followed them, people accepted their miseries as an act of God. When they came to know that it was not the destiny but the sins of Ravana, Hiranyakashipu and others, they felt sorry about it. Now, after the death of Raja Bal, the Saudagar Mahajans have become active in this game of diabolism. Like Ravana, they have first of all made the thinking faculty of the people at large the target of their diabolic game. As a result, people fail to see the hand of these elements behind their miseries. I have therefore taken it upon myself, as once Shanishchara did, to make you people aware of their sinister game. I hope that you people will give a serious thought to what I am trying to explain to you, and after understanding the intricacy of their sinful activities, will be able to do away with their sin. Thereby, you can get back your happiness. They are meticulously working on their plan to decimate large sections of people and to wreak havoc to the world. Imagine a scenario in which there will be only a few pockets of habitation left on this earth. The population of these unscrupulous people will far outnumber others in every country of the world. They will have an unchallenged control over the entire universe. India, which is a vast country, will have a few villages, and the rest of the country will be a desolate stretch of land. In other countries and continents, a similar scenario will prevail. The kings and other subjects left in the world will not have the strength, far outnumbered as they will then be, to challenge the authority of these traders and moneylenders. But at present, the situation is not that gloomy. The sons of God, the honest people, are far more in number than these self-seeking people, so they can defeat them and dismantle their network of sin. Since I know their secret, I am sharing it with all the rulers and common citizens of the world and request them to take action against them and put a stop to the sinister activities of these banias who are at present lying low because they are outnumbered by others. They are, however, capable of creating feuds among the rulers who are taking up arms against each other. The expansionist tendency instilled in them by the Banias make them grab each other's territory, and for this purpose they attack and kill their adversaries. Thus, a large number of people are killed in these internecine wars, and many more die in famines caused by them year after year. Thus, the number of people except their own goes down with every passing year. People are dying at very young age. They have predicted that in the Kali Yuga, only one isolated village within the radius of about 200 miles will be found, which will be inhabited. That means very few people will be left in the world, so they have decided to create a situation in which they will outnumber others. Then they can easily have their control over the entire world. This is the only way by which they can establish their supremacy. They cannot achieve their objective by waging a war against the powerful rulers of the world. Their modus operandi is to create dissension among the people and provoke them to kill each other. Earlier, Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, and Karun had also harmed the world by their diabolism. But as soon as people came to know about their sins, they joined hands to dismantle their diabolism. When their diabolism was put to an end, the people of the world were saved of a great calamity. King Hiranyakashipu, like Ravana, practiced diabolism and thereby created rivalry among people who were provoked to kill each other. Like Ravana, he caused famine, which took a heavy toll of human life, but he too was exposed and people punished him for his sins. That saved the world. If Ravana had his way, he would annihilate the entire human race, because the purpose of his practicing diabolism was to slowly and steadily wipe out generations after generations, so that he and his descendants would alone rule the entire universe.